Right now, merely owning a drone is not illegal, but the FAA, which regulates what flies in the sky, says using a drone for commercial purposes like delivering food for now is illegal. Once it's packaged, the bread gets moved here into the shipping docks, where it'll spend less than 2 days before being shipped out to local stores. Pepperidge Farm says each day they make about 300,000 loaves of bread and buns. That translates into well over 100 million per year. Well, Hannah, good evening to you. All day we have been seeing UPS trucks go in and outside this distribution center here, trying to make good on that holiday delivery schedule. Tonight I spoke with one woman who told me she does not blame UPS for the holiday delay. Well, Denise and Dennis, the bad news for Target just keeps on coming. This is a copy of the email that was sent out to Target customers about 2 hours ago. In it, Target's CEO apologized to customers. He also said he regretted any inconvenience this debacle may have caused. Now, back in December, the company said that hackers stole the credit and debit card numbers along with the expiration dates of up to 40 million shoppers. Target has said the breach impacted customers who shopped over a 3-week period starting on Black Friday. Then last week, Target said that up to another 70 million customers may have had their names, mailing addresses, and email addresses hacked. And this afternoon, another bombshell. Forbes magazine reports that the breach by hackers could include your personal information from purchases you made up to a decade ago. Now, we have reached out to the nation's second largest retailer to confirm those details. However, they have not responded yet to us. Meanwhile, there are signs that this is starting to impact sales at Target. Last week, the nation's second largest retailer said since the hacking announcement, sales have fallen about 2%. Now, Target is now offering free credit protection for customers who were impacted by the breach. Customers have up until April 30th to sign up for the protection. If you are interested in that information, we have put a link up on our website at WFSB.com. Reporting live tonight in the newsroom, Jason Frazer, Channel 3 Eyewitness News. We all have that junk drawer in our kitchen, overflowing with glue, scissors, nails, and probably a battery or two if you dig deep enough. But one of the things that's probably in your drawer tonight caused Dave Miller's Colorado home to go up in flames. Moments after seeing the fire, he makes a call for help.
Fire department here.
Sir?
Yeah.
Hang up the phone and evacuate the residence.
Okay.
He did, and no one was injured. Fire investigators later discovered the very thing that was supposed to help prevent a fire, the 9-volt batteries most often used to power a smoke detector, actually was the cause. Miller says 2 weeks before the 2011 fire, he tossed the batteries into a bag. Fire investigators determined those batteries were the source of the fire.
Should have known better. Now everybody's telling me it's not my fault, and I understand that, but on some level I feel very responsible.
Miller uploaded this video to YouTube to help others understand how dangerous these batteries can be if they're not disposed of properly.
Every 9-volt battery has one particular flaw, and that is that the terminals are particularly close together, the positive and the negative.
Unlike AA batteries, which have both of their terminals on opposite ends of the battery, the 9-volt battery actually has their terminals right next to each other. That means within minutes of it being placed next to a metal object like a paper clip, it can spark or start a fire.
I mean, this is why we even recommend not to carry these batteries, opened out of its package in your pocket or in your purse.
We turn to Connecticut-based Duracell to learn more about battery safety. Spokesperson Wynn Saktonen says it's very rare for a battery to spark a fire, but to avoid possible or potential problems, he offers this advice.
The proper way is you just take the battery, and then just very simply take a piece of tape. It can be some sort of masking tape, it can be electrical tape, it can be, the hockey stick tape, and place it over the terminals so they can't act.
The battery manufacturer also encourages customers to keep the batteries in their original packaging. You may see 9-volt batteries with these plastic caps on them. Saktonen says they can prevent batteries from coming in contact with things in your kitchen drawer that may spark trouble.
I mean, it can be, even coins can activate, paper clips. It could be a nail.
It may have been a costly lesson for Miller's family, but he hopes it's one your family will never have to learn.
If the information that we learned in this fire can save one person's life, then everything that my family has gone through is worth it.
Jason Frazer, Channel 3, Eyewitness News.
If you look out directly out of the harbor, that's basically the entrance out onto Long Island Sound.
But the Stamford boatyard you now see here is actually a shell of what it once was after the state paid millions to tear it down, according to residents Randy Dinter and Maureen Boylan.
Our goal is to get a boatyard back.
They launched a grassroots group called Save Our Boatyard to push for help from the state. The site was supposed to be the future home of Bridgewater Associates, the world's largest hedge fund, which manages more than $130 billion. After the company told the state it had outgrown its current headquarters in Westport, Governor Dan Malloy and the state offered Bridgewater $115 million in incentives to move their headquarters to Stamford. A spokesperson for the governor says it was necessary since the company was considering a move out of state. In exchange for those incentives, Bridgewater promised to create nearly 1,000 jobs.
I think it was a total waste of taxpayer dollar, and this affects every single taxpayer in the state of Connecticut. This is just not a Stamford issue.
Bridgewater recently backed out of the deal and opted to stay in Westport. Boylan says taxpayers like you were left with the bag and out $16 million.
Taxpayers should be absolutely furious.
Boylan says even before any agreement was signed between Bridgewater and the state, the Department of Economic and Community Development hired Building and Landing Technology to clean up the area. A state spokesperson for Governor Malloy told Eyewitness News the improvements were necessary. BNLT cleaned up contaminated soil and replaced metal bulkheads like these. He also told us no company could move to the boatyard area while it was contaminated. And while Bridgewater was a factor in its decision to clean up the place, it had to be done.
We have no objection to Bridgewater coming, but Stamford has a 29% empty commercial vacancy rate. They could have gone into any of our buildings.
But Dinter says for the last 2 years, this is what they now have, a pile of dirt, as the state figures out what to do next with the land.
It's a money pit now, basically. When you look at it, you see a vacant area. When I look at it, I see jobs missing.
Recently, Westport's Planning and Zoning Commission voted to allow Bridgewater to renovate their building and expand by 10%. Whether or not that will be enough to keep the company here in Westport, the company wouldn't say. The company did issue this statement, which said, after careful examination and reflection surrounding the challenges, time, energy, and resources needed to bring the proposed Stamford project to completion, we have decided not to proceed with the move. We are now exploring our other options.
I think before they spent $16 million, they should have had something in writing that Bridgewater was willing to come here.
While the state tries to figure out what to do with the land, Boylan says she's got a good idea.
Considering that the taxpayers of Stamford are paying for it, let them decide.
In Stamford, Jason Frazer, Channel 3, Eyewitness News. You've seen them on the runway of fashion shows and the runway at Bradley Airport aboard United Airlines. You've probably also seen them every day on your shirts and pants. They can either make you a fashion icon or just simply help to keep your clothes together. But making sure the buttons themselves stay together isn't so easy.
It's only a button, but a lot goes into it.
Sal Gerasi knows it. Each year, the Waterbury Button Company makes millions of them.
We make buttons for all of the military. We make buttons for almost every organization you think of in the United States, like the Boy Scouts, Disabled American Veterans.
Some are as small as the dime you find inside your pocket. Others are so big, you've probably seen them in movies like Titanic.
The fool's hooked up! We're just lucky here that whatever we make, once it leaves our door, we see it no matter where we go.
But before you see these buttons make their world debut, they have to first be pounded, polished, and aligned.
What this machine is doing right now is taking the back of a button and the front of the button and lining it up artificially and closing it. So when the buttons are thrown on the garment, they're perfectly straight.
The process hasn't changed much from when Waterbury Buttons was founded over 200 years ago. Now a subsidiary of OGS Technologies, the company got its start during the War of 1812 by Aaron Benedict.
The military could not get buttons from England. I mean, obviously we're at war with England now, right? So Aaron formed the company.
OGS Technologies says they produce about 30 million buttons per year, but the company isn't just about making buttons, it's also about helping law enforcement agencies do their jobs more effectively.
We make the TSA badges.
You'll find some of their latest products at Bradley Airport and being carried by police here in Connecticut and across the country.
What Lisa's doing here is doing the enameling, like with a hypodermic needle.
While keeping the buttons business successfully together is a priority,
we believe that the badge division of OGS Technology will be where we get our major growth.
buttons and badges made here in Connecticut. In Chester, Jason Frazer, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.